Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of NIMASA podcast. I remain your host, Chukwuma Moghalu. I want to take out this time to say a big thank you to all our viewers for watching, for subscribing, and for liking all our videos. Stay tuned as we give you more views and more interesting topics to watch. So, talking about seafarers, about their life and their experiences, both on board and off vessels. Here with us today is Engineer Ahmed Olamilakan Yusuf. Engineer Ahmed got his license as a second engineer. He's been recently promoted. He will tell you the rank. I would leave that to him to speak. Join me as I welcome Engineer Ahmed. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for gracing us and thank you for making our time to be here to share your experiences and to enlighten our viewers on what it is to be a seafarer. Thank you very much. So let's keep the ball rolling. Let me start by asking, what inspired you? Why Maritime? How did you hear about becoming a seafarer? And what was the motivating factor that drew you closer to the career in which you are at the moment?
Wow, that's a very great question actually, and a big one actually. Thank you so much. Actually, you already did the introduction. My name is Engineer Yusuf Ahmed. I'm a second engineer. Presently, I got my license, and all thanks to God and to NIMASA, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. It's been NIMASA that God has used to make my dream come true, my dream of becoming an engineer come true, because for people like me whom right from childhood, we've dreamt of becoming an engineer, the situation in our country whereby you complete your secondary education and then you go for your JAMB and then you try to seek admission from various universities, but then the course which you want to study as a student
Doesn't come up.
You understand? You keep getting different courses. I even had to take JAMB about 4 times, but I myself kept on declining the admissions that were being offered to me as a result of the courses that were being offered. So I was like, no, I want to do engineering. Like, engineering has been, it's been something I have
Your passion
for, right, from childhood, right, to the point that my mother used to tell me when they gave me toys and some little stuff, so I would want to know what is making that sound inside of it. The first thing I do is want to destroy it, or try to, we call it disassembling now, but then as a child,
for you
it was like destroyed. What's inside?
Here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then at the end of the day, I happened to settle for chemistry at the point when I realized, okay, time is going. Let me just, since what is desirable is not available, let me go for what is available, then. So I was in the University of Ilorin studying chemistry, actually. Did my remedial 100 level, 200 level. I was in the chemistry field and I was doing well because, I've been like that, right, from childhood. Lagos born and brought up. They said the vibe is always there, the zeal is always there. But then at a point in time, I was introduced to the scholarship by Barrister Chima. He's a barrister in, I think he's the advocate of NIMASA to the Abuja National Assembly. Okay. So I was given the offer for the scholarship by Barrister Chima through Distinguish, whom she was the what's it called, Chairman Senate Committee on Maritime Transport. Then that this is a scholarship. You've always wanted to do engineering, Yusuf, and this is a scholarship which part of the course which you'll be taking there is engineering. Do you think you can do well in the scholarship examination? Would you want to give it a trial? And then even hearing the fact that there's engineering involved in it, my adrenaline popped up and everything. I was like, okay, I will do it. And then I flew down to Lagos to take the entrance examination at the resource center, which came out excellently well. And then that was it. That was the start of the journey. I flew to Philippines and then under the scholarship program, the NSDP scholarship program, I arrived in Philippines and then knowing fully well that I'd be doing engineering, man, it was like a dream come true. Like I forgot everything to the point that the chemistry I was studying in University of Ilorin, I didn't even say goodbye.
You didn't think twice.
You know, it's an opportunity that you could pause that academic,
Come
and
back
then
for it.
when you come back for it, you have a double degree. Man, I didn't even have a second thought about
That
it.
wasn't your choice.
I just left.
What you always wanted had come to pass.
come to pass. You understand? And then that was how the journey began. And then the engineering journey, the career started, and then it's been amazing ever since.
I can
then.
imagine. That's interesting. Having dreamt of something, and out of the blues, it comes to pass. All thanks to Barrister Chima, you said.
NIMASA as well.
First,
All
Barrister
thanks to
Chima,
God.
come bring. Okay,
Barrister
yes.
Chima.
First, all thanks to God. Then Barrister Chima, who brought the
distinguished.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And NIMASA, of course, made the dream
well,
come true. Thanks to the NSDP program.
Yeah. These three people.
Interesting. What you talked about, you going to Philippines and all of that.
Yeah, sure.
I suppose that was like the training aspect of it.
Yeah.
What was the training experience like? What did you have to go through? What was the regiment like? In that period?
It was really amazing, because Philippines is a very good. They are very good regimental. They are very good regimental maritime academies over there, and I think one of the best maritime academy was where I was lucky to be sent to, which is the Lyceum of the Philippine Maritime Academy. Yeah, so I had my 4 years training course there, and the regimentation was very, very good. The regimentation was very good. And then at the end of the 4 years, I completed my 4 years course in marine engineering excellently well with a very good grade. The Philippine standard of academy, it's just like the American standard of, they use this
Curriculum.
Curriculum, yeah. So it's just more of like, they give you the regimentation, and then they give you the basics that you need in order to go on board the vessel, and then the rest you would learn it when you get on board the vessel. Do you understand? So that's their own system of academy.
So it's like the theory aspect of learning, then you now go for the practical.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like the theory aspect of the learning, more of the theoretical aspect and less of the practical aspect, which you are expected to do the practical aspect and to learn more when you get on board the vessel. Do you understand? But for an engineer like me, that really is not like what I really wanted. Do you understand? Considering the zeal and everything inside of me, not until when after my academics over there, we had to return back home, because as at then it's not allowed for foreigners to go on board a Philippine vessel. So we were cut short. We couldn't get the sea time then. So we had to return back home. I think it was 2015. And then we were trying to get sea time, and the agency was doing their best in order to, put us up on the sea time to be able to complete our program. And then it all happened in 2019.
Because the sea time actually complements the other
aspect. Yeah, you get it. The sea time it's a 1 year sea time program, and then the 3 years would be the theoretical aspect in class. You get. So now the thing is, I haven't got back. I was lucky to be part of the batch that was sent to Egypt at Arab Academy for Science, Technology and Maritime Transport for the sea time phase and the COC.
What year was that?
That was 2017. Actually, after so many contemplations, so many hurdles back and forth, with the agency trying to look for the best institution, trying to see how they can make the students complete the program and all. With federal government approval here and there, there's a lot of processes involved. So successfully 2017, the first batch were to, be catapulted to Egypt. So I was part of the first 150 batch that was sent to
Egypt. So that's literally how you got your first sea time.
Sea time, exactly.
Of course, you would say the NSDP, which is the Nigerian Seafarers Development Program.
Yeah.
It's very instrumental.
Of course,
to you having that seat time,
not just to me,
and to shaping your career as a seafarer.
To a whole lot of people, actually.
So, how was it like in Egypt? What was the experience?
It was mind blowing.
The sea time. Are you stuck there in Egypt waters, or you get to go on voyages?
It was mind blowing.
Please tell us. Our viewers would love to have their mind blown.
Yeah, really, because I would say that dream of becoming that engineer that fire that has been inside of me, do you understand, was really fueled by that institution in Egypt, Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport, because those guys, they deal purely in the practical aspect. They use the United Kingdom curriculum. They don't believe you have to go on board the ship for you to be able to get that remaining practical knowledge. No. Right there in the institution,
the job kicks off.
They've got a whole lot of simulation laboratories, workshops, where you see what you're seeing on the ship.
It's right there.
It's right there, like in their academy, right there. So it was just like a dream come true. That was where, it was like they were fueling the fire that has already been burning inside of me, and
the flames were going up, kicking
in. So it was amazing, because I haven't spent that 2 years in Egypt, though it was stressful. I won't lie to you, because
it was 2 years.
We stayed about 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a 1 year program, but then it became 18-month program, which at the end of the day, at the beginning, a whole lot of us, myself and the other students that were sent there, were seeing it as a waste of time, because we're like, oh, come on, the Philippines, why is NIMASA doing this to us? They're just wasting our time. The Philippines said we just needed a 1 year sea time, and then we'll come back, get our BSc, get our license. Why 18 months? A whole lot of talks were flying all around. But then, trust me, it is just now. We got the license 2019. But I'll tell you, after COVID, in 2021, that majority of us started getting jobs on board different vessels, finding ourselves on different types of vessels with different companies. That was when we started realizing, man, NIMASA has done to us a very great deal of favor by sending us to that Egypt. Because, the knowledge we gained in Egypt, trust me, I would say out of 100% of us that got that license, 95%, I would confidently tell you that they are doing excellently well on board every vessel they find themselves. I would beat my chest to say that, because
they got the adequate.
Do you understand? Like, the practical knowledge were more than sufficient, because you've got the laboratories, you've got the simulation workshops, you've got the engineering workshops as well, where what you are expected to meet on the vessel, the machineries, the equipment, everything, you have it right there in the institution. So it's just like, I want to send you to this Burma Road office to go and work, but then I already have
everything
simulation of the Burma Road office right somewhere where I'm training you at home. And then at the end of the training, you arrive Burma Road, and then you're feeling like,
I've seen this place before.
Exactly. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then they start asking you questions in the Burma Road office, and you'll be like, come on, like, this one
this is this.
So you just, do you understand? That was the experience.
You're meeting expectations.
That was the experience in Egypt. So the combination of the Philippines and the Egypt was amazing. Do you understand? Like, we got the theoretical and the regimental knowledge over there. And then coming to Egypt, you still have the regimental, you have the theoretical, and you now have a whole lot of the practical knowledge as well. So that really shaped us. And right now, a whole lot of my colleagues are giving thanks to God and to NIMASA, and, to that time that we spent.
I would like to even bring that to a segment, because people are watching.
Definitely.
Right? There are a lot of conversations around the NSDP program.
Definitely.
Right? Some people try to even question what it is like.
Yeah, I'm aware.
And how far it has come. All right? So hearing all of this from you is a testimony to the progress.
Definitely.
It could be slow and steady.
That's the point.
But it's all about achieving what
point.
You set out to
That's
do, the objectives of setting it up. Do
Definitely.
you agree that the NSDP is achieving the objectives it has been set up to do?
Definitely. I agree with you. Though it might be slow, but then trust me, the success so far that the program has achieved in terms of human capital, which I myself, I am one of.
The beneficial of it.
Not just a beneficial. I mean, being a beneficial is something different entirely now. I'm answering based on the question.
Yes.
The success of the program.
The program.
When you set up a program like we are talking about,
there's a target.
There's a target, which is building manpower, bridging the gap
Capacity.
of, manpower capacity. Now, the success should not, I don't think the success should be measured as a result of large
How many?
numbers.
Yeah,
how many? Do you understand?
How well?
It's not about how far, but how well. Do you understand? The success of the program might be slow as a result of so many factors that are affecting the program or that are drawing it back. But then the question is, has there been any recorded success? Yes.
So
A
many.
capital yes. Which
You're one of the success stories.
a very huge one, because there is no vessel that I step my leg on and that difference is not
You
felt.
don't leave a mark.
I not just a mark, I crave my name on every vessel as a result of the knowledge that God has blessed me with through this program. Do you understand? So I am a practical example of that success, and I have so many more. Do you understand? Though we have a great number of cadets that are still at home that are waiting that same sea time from NIMASA. The reason is because it's quite expensive. I won't lie to you, because I know how much.
And I think the ratio as well. Ratio of cadets, as opposed to, because there are a lot of cadets, a lot of,
availability
exactly.
of the sea time as well. So we've got a whole lot of cadets at home still waiting to get the opportunity of that sea time and be able to acquire their first license in order to be able to showcase themselves in the industry. Right, that number is huge. Do you understand? And the process is slow. There are a lot of factors which I believe even the federal government getting approval of funds and all of these things, it's not easy. I understand from the agency side, but then if the federal government could collaborate more with the agency and see how things can move forward with these people, there could be more of me out there, flying the flag of the country and doing the country proud. There are a whole lot of people that have the zeal that really wants to, be in this profession, but then the financial capability is not there. And the agency providing the scholarship, has created the platform, but then completing what has been established, what the agency has started, would go a long way in, realizing the dream of those
So many
Nigerians that are stuck right now, just like I myself have realized mine. Do you understand? Because I won't lie to you, it's quite expensive. I got my first license as a third engineer under the scholarship program, but the license I have right now, it's self-sponsored. My second engineer license, and I know how much I cough out in Egypt to acquire the license. Not to talk of the academic.
Interesting. So how often do you get jobs? When was your last voyage?
My last voyage, I just disembarked recently. I left my vessel on the 29th of last month. So I just disembarked actually. So how often you get a job? I think there are some factors that determine that. If I'll be frank with you, there are a whole lot of jobs out there for seafarers, because it's a very, very, very difficult profession.
But it's one profession we can't do without.
Do you understand? That has to do with a whole lot of risk. Even you sleeping is a risk. While you're on the ship, while you're sleeping, you're taking risk, because you don't know what might happen the next minute. Do you understand? It involves a whole lot of risk. Do you get? So the job is readily out there. Do you understand? There are no much people in that line of field. But then, how available are people? How the job is available? How are people getting the job, or how are seafarers able to get the job? Assessing the job. That's the question, because just like most of these companies out there are not ready to engage seafarers without the so-called experience.
And that experience is the sea time.
That experience is the sea time. For example, now you get your first license as a third engineer or as a second officer. There are jobs out there for second officers and third engineers, but then there's a clause behind the job saying applicants must have minimum of 12 months experience on same vessel. We've got different type of vessels. We've got PSV, we've got anchor handling, we've got MPSV, we've got OCV, we've got tankers, we've got containers, we've got bulk carriers, we've got general
tankers and all
cargo.
that.
We've got under the tankers, we've got oil tankers, chemical tankers, product tankers. There are so many. Now imagine you trying to get a job and then they're asking
They
you
require
for
it to be an oil tanker
12
for
month
12.
experience.
I can
Do you
imagine,
understand?
yeah.
I think this is another place where the agency could come in because with respect to our own
But it's that clause, not an international standard thing.
yeah, it's an international standard. No, it's not international standard. It has to do with the company actually, because most companies are just scared of giving responsibilities to someone who just got out of the academy, who just got his license. Do you understand?
Who doesn't
But
have the experience?
experience? Yeah. But then you cannot tell.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Okay, let me take myself as an example.
You can't even have an experience without trying.
Without trying,
So it's
exactly.
you being
that's
there
the
that
point.
builds the experience.
That builds the experience. For example, I myself, as an example, I got my license recently this year, and then I was called by a company, and then they gave me an interview. I passed the interview, and then the curriculum coordinator was like, so I told him I had to come forth to him. I was like, sorry, I know what next you're gonna say. I don't have experience, right? Yeah, I've not worked as second engineer. Fine, no problem. I just got my license. But then, if you're gonna take me, you should let me know. Don't just put my hope in the hand, please. And he was like, yeah, but then you worked with us as a third engineer and you were promoted. I said, yeah, it was in my appraisal. All right, no problem. We're gonna give you the chance. And I was given the chance. I spent 90 days on board the vessel. And trust me, I worked with two chief engineers, under two chief engineers within that 90 days. And both of them, at the end of their stay on board and their leaving, I was promoted by both chief engineers to be a chief engineer.
So on the other hand, to enhancing
Yeah.
or to ensure you build your career positively, right?
Yeah.
You must be of good behavior. You must do what you're required to do
definitely.
adequately.
Definitely.
And to be able to convince those you work with that you're hands-on to do the job.
To do the job, which I believe so many Nigerians like me they all have that
Capabilities.
Yes. Talk of competency. These guys are competent. I'll tell you the fact. I'll tell you that for a fact. These guys are competent. They just need the opportunity to be given to them to showcase that fire that is burning in them, that knowledge that they've got from these institutions. Do you understand?
Yeah.
These guys are professional on the job. When they get on the job, they are professional. So talk of competency, they are there. Talk of the conduct while on board, they're there. They will deliver. Talk of accuracy.
So this is you speaking on behalf of your colleagues.
Definitely.
Letting
Not on
all these
behalf of my
companies
colleagues.
know
No, yeah.
that
On behalf of Nigerian
people,
seafarers.
Nigerians are competent enough
Nigerians
to
are
handle
competent enough.
all these jobs
yeah.
on board vessels.
They just need to be given
the opportunity.
and then not to be extorted while given the opportunities. I'll tell you this for a fact, because there's so many companies and agencies out there that would want to exploit that, that ability or capability of Nigerian seafarers as a result of the fact that they've got no experience. They would employ them, take them in, but then they'll take them on the basis of giving them a worthless remuneration. And trust me, there is one key factor. Just like we have the fire triangle, in our profession as well, we have a triangle that determines the motivation and the drive of how a seafarer would deliver, will perform on the job for you as a ship owner. And the triangle involves three things. We have communication with family. That's one. Number two, we have good food and welfare. Just let me say
Health is
welfare.
wealth.
Let me say welfare. God bless you. And then number three, which completes the triangle, is remuneration.
Pay.
Exactly. You have these three triangles in a very good order for these guys on board.
You must encourage them.
Trust me, you
They
would
will
have
deliver.
your vessel running excellently and efficiently. That's how it works.
Having said all of this,
yeah,
do you have any, word of appreciation you would like to direct to the NSDP program, those in charge of it, those running it, to the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency in particular? And, they said, like I told the last seafarer that came sometime last year, I said, when you praise somebody that has done something good for you, you're opening the arms of the person
definitely
to do more. So what would you say to those in charge of the NSDP program and to NIMASA in particular?
Man, this question is a very big question because thank you is not just enough. I will tell you, because if I am a person that writes a poem, if I'm good in writing poems now, maybe I would have I would have written a poem for these guys, because they are amazing. Trust me. I sit down here today as a marine engineer. I will tell you, through the grace of God and these guys that I've mentioned to you earlier, like the barrister, the distinguished senator herself, NIMASA, NSDP, whoever is involved, you understand? Because truth be told, I wouldn't have been able to get this done myself. It's quite expensive, man. It involves a whole lot of money. Do you understand? It's something that forever I would be grateful for. There was a day I was actually on my vessel and I just kept thinking, I just kept reminiscing on the whole process, how this whole thing came about and achieving of all these things. And that was where I came about my quote, which says, "Gratitude will forever be my attitude." And that was to NIMASA.
Gratitude is a must.
Gratitude will forever be my attitude to God, the federal government, the NIMASA itself, the NSDP department, to each and every one, because I've got a long list, trust me, that has, in one way or the other, been a part of this dream come true, because I'm a dream come true sitting right in front of you here. And, without the platform of the NSDP scholarship program, I don't think that would have been possible.
You wouldn't be here done in your overall.
Yeah, definitely. I won't be here done in my overall. I might have been somewhere, mixing paint. Because I would have completed that chemistry. I was doing the University of Ilorin and then, be frustrated somewhere mixing paint or, doing some kind of chemical, stuff. But then, achieving a dream or, an ambition.
Childhood dream
that has been inside of me is something that, brings...
It's fulfilling.
It's fulfilling, and it brings about that gratitude from the innermost part of me. I'm forever grateful to NIMASA.
I like that. Like, when you talked about your quote on gratitude, I smiled because mine is gratitude is a must.
Oh,
and it's
that's
something.
Yours?
Yes.
Mine is gratitude will forever be
it's
my
something
attitude.
I don't joke with.
I don't joke with that.
Having said that, let me take you back a bit. Can you briefly just put us what your schedule is like daily when you're on board a vessel? Because a lot of people would be watching, the younger generation, they'll have the vision and the dream of, okay, even if I become an engineer on a vessel, a second engineer, a third engineer, a chief engineer, what am I required of? What do I have to do when I wake up in the morning?
All right.
What do I do? How does my day go?
All right.
So just briefly tell us what you do on board vessels.
All right, no problem.
And before we...
All right, no problem. So, on board the vessel, for the younger generations that are watching at home, it's a very nice profession. It's a very good profession. You could dream of becoming an engineer on board a ship, and you would become one for sure. And you would even become an excellent one, even more than I am. When you get there, you get your first license as a third engineer, actually. If you get your license as a third engineer, on tanker vessels, on bigger vessels, you could be employed as a fourth engineer with your license. While on offshore vessels, you would be going as a third engineer. Now, your responsibilities as third engineer or as fourth engineer, is within the scope of the auxiliary machineries on board the vessel. Now, on board the vessel, in the engine room, we have the engine room divided into sections. But basically, we have, the auxiliary machineries, and then we have the main propulsion machines. The main propulsion machines are the ones that, provides the power that drives the ship. It might be a diesel engine, a direct propulsion engine, which is, the diesel engine providing the rotation that drives the propeller. And it might be a diesel electric propulsion engine. Do you understand? A diesel electric propulsion is a generator providing power to drive the azimuth thrusters or whatever it is. So we have the main propulsion system, we have the auxiliary systems, and then, we have other ancillaries like boilers and all. Yeah. So as a third engineer, when you get your first license, on offshore vessels, you would be in charge of the auxiliary machineries. Talking of the auxiliary machineries such as your purifiers, you'll be in charge of your freshwater generators. If you've got freshwater generators on board your vessels, you'll be in charge of, like coolers. You talk of coolers, you talk of which are the heat exchangers. We use the word heat exchangers, and they could be called coolers as well. You'll be in charge of them. You'll be in charge of, a whole lot of seawater pumps. There are a whole lot of pumps on board the vessel. Cooling pumps, transfer pumps, cargo pumps, and all of these. All of these you'll be taught in the academy. So you'll be in charge of all of these pumps under the supervision of the second engineer. He's not going to be alone, or the chief engineer, because in most cases, the third engineer and the chief engineer keep the same watch. While on board tanker vessels, if you are going as a fourth engineer, you'll be in charge of, all of these auxiliary machineries, but under the supervision of your third engineer and your second engineer as well. And then when you become a third engineer fully on tanker vessels, your responsibility will now cover boilers. Do you understand? Because tanker uses boilers. Your responsibility will cover boilers. And there are so many other auxiliary machineries that I might have forgotten. Do you understand? Yeah, like hydrofoil system. You have the sewage system. That's for chief engineer, but you have idea about it. You operate it with him. He shows you some little stuff. Now, when you graduate to become a second engineer, now the engine room becomes yours. You've dealt with the auxiliaries as third engineer. Now you are dealing with the main propulsion machinery. Because as a second engineer, you are the queen of the engine room, just like in a game of chess, while the king is just there behind you. The king is the chief engineer. He oversees every operation. But the hands-on person that does the operation, maintenance, supervision, resources management, bunkering, everything is the second engineer. So as a second engineer, you're basically in charge of the entire engine room. Its operation, its maintenance, its supervision, its resources management, its orderliness, its cleanliness, everything is under your care. Now you've got resources to achieve that, which under those resources are your manpowers, your human resources, which is your third engineer, your oilers, your cadets, and so many other guys, like your ETOs and so many other guys. All of these guys are answerable to you. Now, you are to make sure that the daily operation of that engine room is up to date, like it's top notch. It's optimal, it's top notch at all time. So that's your job as a second engineer. Then when you become a chief engineer now, you liaise with the office more. You do the paperwork because you're not expected all the time to be down there because there'll be emails flying. Do you understand? As per questions, requisition, defect reports, like voyage plan, consumption report, fuel request, and all of these paperworks and communications will be between the technical manager, the company, and the chief engineer. So you see, he's got a whole lot going on, but he needs someone to be in charge downside to make sure that things are well taken care of. So that's the second engineer role. But as a cadet, which is, like a junior rank to the third engineer, you learn from everyone. You just make yourself open to learning. That is where Nigerians watching me at home will be starting from as a cadet. So you make yourself open to learning. You increase your zeal, your perseverance, your
enthusiasm,
your enthusiasm, your ability to learn. You humble yourself. You try to be as hardworking as possible, and don't just work hard, work smart.
Yeah, perfect.
That's the thing. Don't just work hard, work smart. You work hard on the ship and you work smart on the ship as well. So you have to put in all of these qualities in order for your superiors to see you to be worthy of passing that knowledge to. Because so many cadets will go on board that they'll be like, they don't want to teach us, they are not passing the knowledge. What is your attitude towards your superiors? For them to be able to say, oh, come on, come here, let me show you this.
You must be receptive.
Do you understand? You must be receptive. That's the first thing. So as a cadet, where Nigerians watching me at home will be starting from, those are the qualities that are, that we look out for. We don't say, we don't ask, but we just look out for it. When I get a cadet, for example, I have not less than about 3 to 4 guys that today I could boldly say I have reciprocated what NIMASA has done in my life. I have trained these guys to the grace of God. Not me. God has trained them through coming in contact with me. And today they are third engineers as well. And on various vessels that they are doing excellently well.
That's good.
Do you understand? So,
That's good.
but they were receptors. They were showing those attributes and attitudes. So I wasn't I never drew back in giving them all that has been given to me as well. So
All right.
yeah, that's
All right. So having said all of that,
yeah.
every career path has a peak. Where do you intend to peak? Because I don't know, you talked about fourth engineer, third engineer, second engineer, chief engineer.
Yeah.
What's next? Is there a double chief engineer?
No.
And where do you particularly intend to peak in this career?
Yeah, for me, my peak in this career is, they say, like they say, if you don't dream big, if your dream doesn't scares you, then you've not started dreaming.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So my peak in this career is owning a ship of my own and managing fleets of vessel
I like
of
that.
my own. Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And having my own engineering firm has spanned all over the world where I have people to empower and, to...
Having said that, talking about people to empower, something came into my mind.
Okay.
Most of the wealthiest guys, talking about owning a ship, because you can't get a ship with small money.
Definitely.
So most of the wealthy guys we have on earth today, right,
Definitely.
became so by the services they require.
Sure.
They always get a solution to solving a problem.
Definitely.
And this makes them wealthy. So when you talk about owning a ship and employing so many people,
Definitely.
what drives you?
What drives me is, just like you said, no successful person in life that has not passed through an obstacle while they're growing. And their ability to look back at those obstacles and be able to create solutions that makes those coming behind them, that makes that path a little bit easier, if not very much easier, is what gives them, like I would say, the success that they've attained in the world of today. For me, I would really, love to look back at the obstacles that I've encountered while growing up in this career path and set up a whole lot of firm like crewing agent, training centers and, set up facilities that makes the life of those out there watching me and wants to be in the same path of this career very much easier for them to get to their dream goal.
That's setting up a company with a difference.
With a difference, yes, definitely. A company with a difference where, seafarers could have all what they needed to,
Without
make them
hassles.
thrive, without hassles, without stress, without having to go through the difficulties that we are going through right now. So, it's something that I dream of as well. Something I dream of as well.
What would be your advice to the youth? Tell our youth something. Advise them, those that might look forward to building a career as a seafarer. Those that would like to get involved in the maritime industry, the maritime domain. Tell them something, a word or two to take out of this podcast today.
Aside from all that I've said earlier, I think what I would just tell youths that are, looking to get into the profession or looking to get into the career is that, like they say, nothing comes easy. But trust me, in the maritime field, it's not just nothing comes easy. It's extremely tough. It's demanding. It's tough. It's, it involves a whole lot of sacrifice. So before you get in, prepare your mind. But trust me, there's something that is guaranteed. It's achievable. And you could you could do excellently well, but be ready to make sacrifices. Be ready to be open to learning. Be ready to, go through phases of severe hardship. Because I won't lie to you, there's a whole lot of tough roads and bumps to cross. But at the end of those roads, at the end of those tunnels or whatever it is, there is a very bright light that when you get there, you will tell yourself, thank God I was able to persevere and cross all of these things that I've left behind and get to this end, because among your peer groups, you would be doing excellently well. You would not be left behind, and you will not regret you choose the career path. Trust me.
Interesting. I wish we could talk all and on and on and on. But unfortunately, not to scare you, my viewers, nothing good comes easy.
No.
In everything you do, you must be prepared and be ready to give your all.
Yeah, sure.
And be rest assured that at the end of the day, everything will fall together for your good. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Engineer Olamilakan Ahmed Yusuf.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure sharing your story.
Wow.
It's a pleasure to have you in our presence. We're hopeful that sometime, we'll call on you again, probably for a part 2, to tell us more about your life and your career path as a seafarer. Congratulations again on your promotion.
Thank you very much.
And so for my viewers, that will be all for today. Thank you for watching NIMASA podcast. You can watch this episode again on all our social media handles at NIMASA Official. And please, don't forget to subscribe to all our social media handles. Thank you. See you next time on NIMASA podcast.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now.